Well, hey guys, I'm Lynn Hanson. I'm one of the pastors here at North Park Church. Really glad to be sharing with you in our life groups this week. You know, we say that life groups are the church. The Lord who rescued me from the claws of the lion and the bear will rescue me from this Philistine. Saul finally consented. All right, go ahead, he said, and may the Lord be with you. Then Saul gave David his own armor, a bronze helmet, and a coat of mail. David put it on, strapped the sword over it, and took a step or two to see what it was like, for he had never worn such things before. I can't go in these, he protested to Saul. I'm not used to them. So David took them off again. He picked up 5 smooth stones from a stream and put them into a shepherd's bag. Then, armed only with his shepherd's staff and sling, he started across the valley to fight the Philistine. Goliath walked out toward David, with his shield bearer ahead of him, sneering in contempt at this ruddy-faced boy. Am I a dog, he roared, that you come at me with a stick? And he cursed David by the names of his gods. Come over here, and I'll give your flesh to the birds and wild animals, Goliath yelled. David replied to the Philistine, you come to me with sword, spear, and javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of heaven's armies, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. Today the Lord will conquer you, and I will kill you and cut off your head. And then I will give the dead bodies of your men to the birds and wild animals, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. And everyone assembled here will know that the Lord rescues his people, but not with a sword and spear. This is the Lord's battle, and he will give you to us. As Goliath moved closer to attack, David quickly ran out to meet him. Reaching into his shepherd's bag and taking out a stone, he hurled it with his sling and hit the Philistine in the forehead. The stone sank in, and Goliath stumbled and fell face down on the ground. So David triumphed over the Philistine with only a sling and a stone, for he had no sword. Then David ran over and pulled Goliath's sword from its sheath. David used it to kill him and cut off his head. All right, guys, you've heard the story now. Somebody in your group, go ahead and retell that story as best you can from memory. And everybody else pay close attention to what they might have missed so that you can add those things in afterwards. And in doing that, you'll rebuild the story and really get it in your heart and mind. So go ahead and do that, would you please? All right, a few discussion questions now. Question number 1, what are the specific battles in your life that you tend to resort to worldly weapons to fight? What are your favorite worldly weapons? So 2 parts to that question. What are the specific battles in your life where you tend to resort to worldly weapons, and what are those weapons that you usually use, those things you resort to? Go ahead and talk about that, would you please? All right, well, this story of David and Goliath is an actual, true, historical story. There are, however, a ton of spiritual versus worldly symbolisms in it. And so I'd like you to take a look at those and kind of put your spiritual thinking cap on, pray a little bit, and ask God to reveal this to you. Question 2, look carefully at the symbolism in the story, and in what ways are worldly weapons contrasted with spiritual weapons in this story? Think that through, pray that through, see what you can come up with there. Go ahead. Okay, guys, as you look at this story now, question 3, who do you identify with most in the story? There's a few different characters in the story. Who do you identify with most, and why? Why do you think you identify with that person the most? What is your attraction or connection to that person? Go ahead and talk about that, please. Now, question number 4, you can look back at the story and you can see this illustrated very plainly there, that resorting to worldly weapons just creates more strongholds in our life. Question 4 is this: how does reverting or resorting to worldly weapons create more strongholds in your life instead of less? How do you see that taking place in your life? And then, how is this principle symbolized in our life group story this week? How do you see that principle symbolized, that using worldly weapons creates more strongholds, not less? How do you see that symbolized in the story? Go ahead and talk about those things, please. All right, last thing that I want you to really take away, this is the walk-away question now. What is God teaching you in your life group this week? Okay, there should be some fantastic, powerful lessons about, the weapons of this world and not using them to fight our battles. What's He teaching you this week in your life group? Guys, that's it. That's your life group for this week. God bless you guys, and I will see you soon.